Hello and welcome to this exclusive webinar on investment trends and opportunities. Joining us today is Mr. Mahesh Patil, Chief Investment Officer at Aditya Birla Sun Life AMC. Thanks, Mahesh, for joining us today on the show. Mahesh, markets are trading at their all-time high and there seems to be no sign of any correction. What do you think is the reason behind this super rally?
Yeah, so if you look at the markets have been climbing the wall of worry, right? The proverbial thing, as we call it, right? I mean, there has been a scare, especially in India, because of the second wave. And despite that, we saw that the market, after a minor correction, is scaled a new high. And if you analyze the reasons for that, I think there are two or three important reasons, okay, why the market is ignoring the short-term concerns, okay, or short-term slowdown on the economy because of the second wave. One is globally, we are seeing that global recovery has been very strong after the second wave, and global growth actually estimates have been upgraded. And overall financial conditions globally remain fairly benign, both in terms of monetary as well as the fiscal support. And as a result of that, we've seen that foreign investors also continue to really pump in money, barring some outflows we saw last month. Secondly is that domestic investors, the retail inflow into the markets has been very, very strong. So while even the mutual funds, we've seen that in the last 3 months have now started seeing positive inflows. But more importantly, besides the institutional money, the retail money into the market is seeing record high participation. Again, not only in India, but even globally. And that has also led to the kind of support, okay, which the market has received, especially in the mid-cap and small-cap segment. And thirdly, I think the belief is that while the impact of the second wave is no doubt going to be there on this first quarter, you will see a quick recovery, okay, as the lockdowns get lifted, and that's what the experience has been in the other markets also globally. So in that sense, I think the market is trying to ignore this and look at the longer term picture, which still looks promising in terms of the whole recovery in the economy, also in terms of where the overall economic growth will stabilize after things normalize next year onwards. So all that looks fairly promising. We can get into that, but given these factors, the markets is where it is and at the record high levels.
Right. Mahesh, small and mid-cap space has seen some serious outperformance. Do you think it's time for investors to book profits here?
So the small and mid-cap space after 2018, okay, we've seen a large underperformance. Since the beginning of calendar year 2018, there was a large underperformance which was there. And that is primarily because on the back of a slowdown in the domestic economy. Okay, what we saw even pre-COVID, the domestic economy traction was slowing down. So that was the reason for the underperformance. Subsequently, after the pandemic, we've seen that because of the large amount of liquidity which has been pumped in, and also the fact that expectation of economic revival going forward, the mid-cap and small caps have bounced back very smartly now. And they have, in the last 1 year, in fact, it's been the best performing, overtaking the Nifty also. At this moment, I would say that the mid and small caps now look to be fairly priced. They were undervalued around 6 to 9 months back. They are now fairly priced. So that now the huge outperformance, what we saw, I think that is probably behind us. But I think going forward from here, if the economic recovery sustains, and that's what our belief is, then the mid-cap and small-cap companies could still continue to do well because their earnings are more linked to the domestic economy. Unlike the large-cap companies where almost like 40 to 50% of the Nifty companies are also linked to the global economy. The mid and small cap is more domestic focused. And with the revival in domestic economy, multiple sectors, whether domestic cyclicals, investments are picking up, we should see a better growth trajectory in the mid and small cap space in the next, say, 2-3 years. So to that extent, while the valuations are now fairly priced over there, they can still continue to deliver decent returns from here. To that extent, I think one should stay invested and continue to make your normal allocation to mid and small cap. I would not suggest to go aggressive there now where the valuations are. But your normal allocation to mid and small cap, I think, should even continue over here, and they should do reasonably well with the next 3-year view.
Mahesh, what should one's investment strategy be at this point of time? SIPs or lump sum investments?
So I think we've been always saying that SIP is the best strategy for retail investors because you never know, okay, what is the market top or where is the market bottom, and very difficult to predict that. Nobody would have thought that from the last year, from the bottom, the markets would rally so much, right? And people would have waited, okay, for the bottom, and the markets quickly went up. You would have missed the opportunity. So I think the SIP route is the best route, and increasingly in the market where a lot of uncertainty around which is there. You don't know when the big correction would be. So and especially at this point in time where the market has rallied now, there is no easy trade in the market, right? Valuations are now fairly priced across the board. And you might see after such a strong rally into the market in the last 6 months, I mean, anytime you can see a market easily correcting by around 10-12% or so, or even more also. So making a lump sum investment at this point in time would be advisable. It's best to continue with the SIP, and I think that should yield investor a better experience, okay, going forward without actually bothering about the market volatility.
Right. Mahesh, in your opinion, what segments of the markets are looking promising right now?
So at this point in time, we're seeing actually surprisingly, despite the fact that the market is so, I mean, most of the sectors that rallied, market is a new high. We're not seeing too negative on any particular sector, right? But if you ask me which sectors look more promising going forward, I would say that amongst the domestic cyclical, I think, assuming that after this second wave, you should see recovery coming back. If you want to really play that cyclical up move in the economy and the credit growth picking back, then the banking sector still looks good. It's still fairly priced compared to its long-term average. There is short-term, there could be some volatility because of the second wave, but the banks are now well capitalized. We don't see a major impact. So that's one sector I think really one can look at. We are also positive on the investments picking up. The investment cycle in the country has been impacted in the last 5 years, and it's at an all-time low. With the government focus on domestic manufacturing, the PLI schemes, as you know, the production link incentive scheme to promote indigenous manufacturing and also to cater to the global supply chain across sectors is being rolled out. That should gain some traction. So the investment, the companies, the industrials, capital goods sector, which have underperformed now in the last 5 years, I think could see a revival. So that could be another sector which can be played in terms of to catch the overall recovery. And apart from that, the IT sector still looks good. We see a strong revival in global companies towards digital spends. And Indian IT companies have done well in the last few years to really move up the value chain to move from the pure application and development service provider to move up and provide digital services. So there, again, one sees a steady growth over the next few years. So these would be some of the sectors, okay, which one would be positive on. And more structurally, we like the whole consumer discretionary sector, the consumer durables, home improvement, where I think in India, you would see secular growth over there because of rising per capita incomes, the move from unorganized to organized, that will continue to drive some of these companies over there, though they are currently getting impacted because of the second wave. But I think they should be able to bounce back as the lockdown gets lifted. So these are some of the 3-4 sectors, okay, where we are positive from a medium to long-term perspective.
Mahesh, you mentioned banking and financial services. Now, they've been on a roll in the last 3 to 6 months. Is that sector still looking good for fresh allocations, or would you say that investors have missed the pass and maybe a correction, and that could be a good entry point?
So the banking sector is to some extent linked to the domestic economy, right? So it took a hit last year because of the first wave. There were concerns about NPAs kicking in, especially retail on the retail side. We're already seen a large NPA cycle on the corporate credit, right, 2 years back. So overall, if you look at the banking sector now, I think after the first wave, there has been an impact, but it's not been as big. And many companies have been able to, large banks have been able to take them in their stride. They have made adequate provisions. So we don't see any major problems over there. Second wave will have some impact, but should not be such a problem. The banks have also capitalized. They have raised capital last year. So the balance sheets are now in a much better shape than what they were earlier. And the whole corporate side is behaving well, the corporate credit, right? We don't see any large issues over there. So all in all, I would say the banking sector looks fairly decent, well, in a good shape to really benefit from the recovery in the economy in the next coming years. And there also the larger banks, the banks which have got more, are more technology focused, banks which have got a strong leadership, risk management practices will continue to grow and gain market share, right? Possibly from the weaker banks or the smaller banks or the PSU banks. So I think they still look good, and the valuations there are somewhere near the long-term averages. They're not too expensive. They're neither cheap also, but they are fairly priced. So that should look good. Even the NBFC sector also, after the large crisis 2 years back, has stabilized now. And we've seen a good consolidation in the NBFC sector. The larger one, the stronger NBFCs, I think will continue to play into the niche areas, right, where the banks are not able to really really be that competitive. And NBFC, which have that niche, have also adopted digital, okay, as a part of their life, because that will enable them to really be much more leaner and competitive and reduce their cost. I think continue to thrive and grow. So I would say, barring a 1 quarter or 2 quarter kind of a blip impact because of the second wave, if one has to really play the domestic cyclical recovery, then banking sector is still a decent sector to look at even now at these levels.
Mahesh, another high beta category funds are infrastructure funds, right? How do you view this sector?
So the infrastructure sector had always been actually, in the last 10 years, there have been pockets where one thought, okay, it's coming back because the government focus on infrastructure. We have been a lot of talk about that, but it hasn't done that well, right? The promise of what it was supposed to deliver. Now, if you look at the sector, it's looking slightly more interesting because I think clearly the large push the large pull for the infrastructure was from the power sector. That is still missing. Because we're not going to see any large investments into power sector, into the captive or the thermal power plants. The renewables are catching pace now, okay, but there is not much investment opportunity there for the domestic manufacturers to benefit out of that. But I think the charm in the infrastructure sector is now coming in from the industrial and the capital goods sector. So as I mentioned, after a long time, we are seeing initial signs of capex picking up, private sector capex slowly picking up. Though it's still not going to be as large as we saw in the early cycle in 2003, 2008. But there are pockets like metal sectors, companies are talking about now investing on the back of the strong commodity prices. Cement companies are investing. And then the other companies which are looking at India as a sourcing, large manufacturing base for global sourcing, right? I mean, the China Plus One policy and the whole production link incentive schemes. I think that's a very a big development where now there is a thrust on production where the incentives are compared to the earlier incentives, which used to be more on investment-led, right? Pure. So all these things makes us more positive now on the whole industrial capital goods sector. The power sector also, the utility sector is also underperformed and reasonably priced. That also looks fairly good. So infra can be looked at now as a more tactical play, but it will always be more risky and more volatile. And it's not going to be a broad-based infra like power sector and large capex cycle kicking in. So the road sector looks good over there. The government is trying to again see some give a big thrust to that area. Urban infrastructure is also all in all decent up move from here, but it's only for those people who really want are willing to take that higher risk, and it will always remain a more typical sector. But at this point in time, the risk reward looks slightly favorable there. Yes.
Right. Mahesh, coming back to the co-allocation multi-cap or flexi-cap funds, can you throw some light on portfolio composition of the recently launched multi-cap fund and your erstwhile multi-cap, which is now ABSL flexi-cap fund?
So this category of flexi cap, multi cap, our belief is that see, first of all, in this market, we are now agnostic towards market capitalization. Like around 6-9 months back, we were more positive on mid and small cap. We've seen a good rally over there. So now the risk reward across large cap, mid cap, and small cap is fairly well balanced. So it's going to be more bottom up approach, okay, which will give outperformance from here is what we think. And in that context, I think the best way to participate in that for any investor would be through a multi-cap fund or a flexi-cap fund, which is across, right, market capitalization. Now, if you just compare a flexi-cap fund, there is a freedom, right, for the fund manager to move across market capitalization. Whereas in a multi-cap fund, there is a minimum investment required in mid-cap and small cap, which is 25% each in mid and small cap. To that extent, you get a better mix across mid, small, and large caps. So that's the only difference. Otherwise, both funds are really, in a way, more diversified funds. And I think so that should be a large allocation. In our fund, particularly in the multi-cap fund which we launched, we are looking at more bottom-up idea over there across mid-cap, small caps, trying to really find, especially a month back, 1.5 months back when we launched the fund, we were looking at all these recovery plays because that's the point in time where we were going through the second wave of COVID. And a lot of these stocks, especially in the retail sector, the entertainment sector, or consumer discretionary side, again corrected. But we were very clear that next year, because of the whole vaccination drive, we should see a normal year and they could be good recovery plays. So clearly we were positioned into those sectors as a recovery play. And then we're trying to actually build across sectors, right? Not in a particular, try to look at companies which are best positioned in those sectors, either because of their strong competitive advantage through product technology, companies which have, again, with a strong management focus really to enhance shareholder value, and companies which are fairly comfortable in the balance sheet. We don't want to really get into weaker companies because finally, I think we've seen these stronger, better companies are only going to consolidate and grow. So look at the future winners, look at the sectors which are potentially going to do well. So a few sectors which we had identified, as I mentioned earlier, sectors like consumer durables, for example, then the chemical sector, again, which has been seeing a very structural shift, right, to India, right? India has been able to really capture a larger share of the global away from China. So that's going to be a long term, especially specialty chemicals. So that's another sector which we were looking for. Apart from that, as I mentioned, the whole production PLI scheme-led, investment-led growth to look at a few sectors in the industrial side and the IT sector, especially the digital side, the disruptions, which are happening, digital disruptions, companies which are at the forefront of that and able to take advantage of that. And in the banking sector, banks, especially the private banks and large banks, which are well positioned to gain market share. So these are some of the sectors and themes which we are playing through our flexi-cap and the multi-cap funds. And in our flexi-cap fund specifically, it is, again, more diversified. It is a more value, some amount of value bias is there. And we are seeing now the value trade starting to play back again. Globally, also value is now coming back. I mean, it underperformed for quite a few years. Quality was really the theme, but now with interest rates kind of bottoming out over here and market looking at other opportunities, we are seeing value starting to play out. So our flexi-cap fund is well positioned also on the value. It's a more balance of value and growth theme, which provides a good balance in this kind of a market environment.
Mahesh, passive investing, or rather ETFs, have gained popularity back here, just like the West, right? I mean, of course, one reason could be the reduced outperformance of the large cap funds. Do you think there's scope for a large cap fund manager to outperform, or has the markets matured and index funds may actually continue to see outperformance?
So I think the whole debate about large cap funds underperforming the benchmark, or for that active funds underperforming the benchmark, has really caught up in the last 2 years because there has been an underperformance, of the average funds returns if you look at vis-a-vis the benchmark. But really, if you analyze, it was primarily driven by the state of the market which was there in the last 2 years, especially calendar year 18 and calendar year 19, where we saw a very narrow rally in the market. A few large index stocks really doing well. The breadth of the market was very, very poor. But I think that is now changing a bit. Okay, again, markets go through various phases. Now we're seeing the market breadth is now becoming much more broad-based in the last 1 year. So again, there is an opportunity for funds which are more diversified and try to take bets outside the benchmark developed returns, starting to again outperform. So I would say that clearly over the last 10 years, we've seen that the outperformance of actively managed funds, be it large cap or multi-cap, the outperformance is clearly coming down. But there's still room for funds to still outperform the benchmark. Okay, not with a large margin now, but say with a reasonable margin going forward. And because there are still, India is still a market where there are a lot of opportunities which are coming up, new companies coming in, mid caps, small caps becoming mid cap becoming large caps, and then coming into the index, okay, before they are fully discovered. So you can really write that story. New companies coming through IPOs, okay, which gives you opportunity to participate before they become part of the benchmark. So I think there are pockets, and as the market, as the growth becomes more broad-based, there are multiple sectors which are doing well, and we see that environment over the next few years. I think there is room for actively managed fund managers, even the large cap funds, to beat the benchmark, but the outperformance will be much more lower than what it was earlier. So I think there is, I think, the room for large cap funds also to get allocations compared to the index fund. Index funds have their own space, okay, into the market, especially investors who are looking at more of just to play the beta, right, and get quick allocation, okay, to a beta trade. I think they can still look at index funds, but somebody making a long-term value wealth creation, even large cap category, it makes sense to put money in large cap fund because they can still provide some alpha over the index funds or the ETFs.
Thank you, Mahesh. Great having you on the show today, and thank you for sharing your perspective on the markets and on the funds with our viewers. Thank you for watching.
Sure. Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.